What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Ron here. And I hope you all had a great and safe New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I was in Miami for 10 days visiting my daughter, Marisa. She's been down in Florida for a few years now. She's been in Miami for 3 years now. I had the privilege of training at probably the best gym down there for bodybuilders, influencers, called Elev8tion Fitness. I had a week pass that my brother-in-law got for me. That's his gym, his main gym. Only issue I had was they are moving to a brand new location that opens tomorrow. They are down the street. They moved only about a mile away, and they're going to have something like 3 times the floor space of what the original Elev8tion gym had. And a lot of the equipment had been moved already to the new location. Not all of it, of course, but I noticed it mostly in the leg room. They do have 3 rooms. The main room where you walk in, and you go off to the left, and that's all upper body stuff, and a lot of back pieces in there. And to the right, that's where they had all their leg stuff. And that room was most noticeably missing equipment. They still had the basics, everything you needed. And it wasn't like I was trying to have the greatest workouts of my life down there. I was there on vacation, wasn't eating normally. I was getting 3 meals a day in plus 2 shakes, as opposed to my normal five solid meals and a shake every day. But on vacation, I don't worry about it. If you guys have any questions about Miami, I did get to experience the nightlife there a few nights. My daughter's a DJ. I went to 2 of her gigs. A place called New Bay, on the New Bay rooftop up in Fort Lauderdale, which is about a 40-minute drive away. And then her regular place, Rosa Sky Rooftop. She's there every week, and we were there. We did a place called Water. It was the name of the rooftop club. I can't remember. It's called One Hotel, I think, in Miami Beach. That was what we did for New Year's Eve. One thing I will say about Miami Beach in general is that it is a rich man's playground, or there's a lot of young money down there. Just the parking lot alone for that Elev8tion Fitness, Range Rovers, Lamborghinis, Mercedes McLarens. My son-in-law drives a Ferrari 458, and I'll say my daughter drives. He owns all the cars, so it's his money. A brand new Audi e-tron GTS. These are very, very expensive, very fast cars. So it's a place where if you don't have a lot of money, I could see where you'd feel inadequate or inferior or less than, if you allowed yourself to feel that way. Or you could take it the other way and be inspired by all the glamour and all the fancy cars and everything you see around there. I mean, the restaurant he took us to on our first night there, I was just in awe of some of the prices. It was a steakhouse called Claw with a K. Like $200 steaks, $250 steaks. I mean, I would never pay for it. He paid for it. And champagne and stuff like that, that's always going to be expensive. But I was just, it's crazy to see how the other half lives. I mean, I've had money. I've made good money, really good money at times, but not crazy money to the point where I'd go out and spend $1,000, $1,500 on like one restaurant meal. I would never do that. To me, that's just a waste. But there's a lot of money down there, and they have no problem. Let's see what you guys are up to. Xavier, what's up? Gold Coast. Ever out to Mount Tambourine when you came to QLD? What is Mount Tambourine? Sounds like a mountain. Best hair in the biz. Thank you, man. I need a haircut. My wife doesn't want to cut my hair anymore. I don't know what Mount Tambourine is. When we went to Queensland, here are the places we went. So we stayed in Marathon Suites downtown Adelaide, Brisbane, and that's where we spent the majority of our time there. We did go up to the Gold Coast a couple times to go to the beach. We went to a couple different beaches, not Bondi, that's in Sydney. Can't remember the name, but we went to a couple of the big Gold Coast beaches when we were in Queensland, and we also went up to Daintree National Forest. We stayed up in that area. What is that area called? I'm actually gonna have to look at I have it in my photos because I don't know the names of these places offhand. So If I go years, no. Because now I'm feeling stupid. I can't remember the name of the place we went to. How do I go to years? It was some place where they had like a big wheel. We stayed there for a couple nights. My wife, my son, and I. And that's where we. It must be closer to where the Daintree National Forest is, the Miami of Australia. Oh, definitely. That was great. I mean, I would go back. We are going back. I've never been to Sydney so far. That's the only part of Australia I've been to is Brisbane, Queensland, that part of the country. My son-in-law Musa, he is from Sydney. He's from a neighborhood called the Punch Bowl. Some other famous people. Rebel Wilson is also from that neighborhood. The late XXYZZ. I think he lived like the next street over from where my son-in-law Musa's grew up. But yeah, Australia, beautiful country, and we're going back in 2026 for her. She had a wedding. They got married in 2016 here, but it was a small wedding, small reception. None of his family were there, so my daughter always felt kind of, like she missed out on the big wedding that all girls dream of since they're little girls. They're doing that in 2026, so we're all going to go in 2026. Our side of the family, and we're going to meet up. Obviously, his side of the family lives there, and that's when I'll finally get to see Sydney. Thank you, Kellyanne. Thank you. Had a great time in Miami. Yeah, it's good to be back, though. I do appreciate the warm weather, but I'm not bothered by cold weather. It's not that cold here. If you know Fahrenheit, today is like 30. I woke up, it was 30. That's not that cold. It's just a couple degrees below freezing. And then right now it's like 34, 35. It was pretty warm down there. Did I witness the Wes Watson fight? I did not. I did see Wes go up to, so I walked in the next morning and the fight had been the previous afternoon, I guess. And Wes, as I was asking, Christian Duque made a post about it. And I was just commenting. I did voice to text. Was there footage? And as I was saying that, Wes walked right by me, glanced over at me, probably thought I was referring to that, and I was. But I saw him. He must have just finished his workout because he was going over to Angel, the owner, probably to explain himself and what happened, because he wanted to let Angel know that he didn't start the fight. Now the rumor or the conspiracy theory is the whole thing was a setup for views, but I feel like if it had been a setup on Wes's part, that he would have been in a better position with cameraman and everything to get it all, to capture it all, to really capitalize on. He did not. All we've got is some crappy security footage from the gym. It's a little inland from the GC around there. It's a rainforest. Oh, okay. It was incredible. Favorite place to visit in Australia. Daintree is way north. Yeah, we had to take a plane to that. From where we were in Brisbane, I think it was like only a 1 hour flight. It wasn't that far away, but if we had driven, I think it would have taken us 4 or 5 hours. I did have a rental car. I had a hell of a time, Xavier, driving in Australia. I won't lie to you. I mean, I'm not the greatest driver in the world as it is, but it was so disorienting being on the right side of the car driving as opposed to the left side as we are in the US. And of course, driving on the left side as opposed to the right side, I kept hitting the curbs, making turns and stuff. It was just so disorienting. I felt so out of my element. It was just very big relief when I got back home and I could drive on the right side. The correct side for me is the left side of the car, and drive on the correct side, which is the right side of the road. I don't know how you guys do it. Sydney the other day was actually people knew current bodybuilding influence. That's awesome. I like that time. I think I might move here. Oh, to Sydney. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Sydney. Like I said, I've never been. I've only been to Queensland and Brisbane so far. My son did, he lived in Brisbane he went to University of Queensland at Brisbane for a semester. So it was like 5.5 months. He did get to spend a week in Sydney when he first flew into Australia. I think it was part of the program. They wanted everyone to experience Sydney before they took off to Brisbane. So he was there for, I think it was almost a week. Yeah. So actually, that's a good size. He's not as, well, I'll tell you this, Brian, good question. So all of Wes's videos, he's leaning, I think I'm facing the wrong way. He's facing this way. You see him leaning in and his arm is propped up and his arm looks pretty huge. Wes is not a small guy. He's got some good muscle on him. I think he's about 6'4", foot, 6'1", 240. That's not a small guy. But for someone like me who's been around so many massive bodybuilders, I mean, I got to see Ronnie Coleman a few times in the off season when he was 5'11" and a pretty lean 330 to 340. Ronnie was definitely a legit 330 in the off season. He competed. Heaviest he ever competed in contest shape was 296. So let's put someone who's like 6 foot. Who's 6 foot? I guess he's about the same size, roughly, in terms of muscle mass as Chris Bumstead, but not as aesthetically pleasing. Doesn't have that same beautiful structure and shape. He looks like a big athletic guy, and he's lean. He looks like he's on a lot of gear, a lot of GH. I don't know what his doses are, but I'm pretty good at looking at people and saying, this guy's not on much. This guy's on a lot. I'm not saying Wes is on like an Olympia level, what those guys are taking, but he's on a good amount of stuff. I could tell by the way, this quality of the skin, the vascularity. He's very red. And definitely, I would imagine he's running a good amount of GH. I mean, he's loaded. He's got so much money from guys pay him $40 grand to be their life coach. So, good for him, I guess. And actually, we were driving to the beach, and I don't know why my son-in-law knows where Wes lives, but he does, because Wes takes the same car to the gym every day. It's one of those Porsche SUVs. I think it's bright orange. But he knew where he lived. He had because he had that car out front. It was a nice house, good size house. I mean, those houses in Miami Beach, right by the water, that I guess he rents. He's probably about 4 blocks from the actual beach, from the ocean, and that's a very expensive neighborhood. I think the houses there go for, anywhere from $5 to $20 million if you were going to buy them. So he's got a really nice place. He had a Rolls Royce in the driveway too. He makes great money. So, he can't complain about people throwing his name out there. People keep saying, all these videos saying his career is over, he's done, he's ruined, he's going to go bankrupt. I think if anything, all these videos putting him down from guys like Bubba and Johnny Bravo, they've only made him more popular. They've gotten his name out there to a bigger and bigger community of people. And, if 20 million people watch videos about Wes Watson and 500 of them decide, hey, I'm going to look more into this guy, and they decide they want him to be their coach to help them be more alpha and more confident and make more money and get more women and be more jacked. It's only going to be better for him in the end. It's going to have a great result for him. Let's see. Did I watch the recent video of Mr. Olympia TV with the judge criticize Charlton's coaching industry without proper? I saw the clip on Instagram, which was pretty much all I need to know. I mean, if you guys anyone who doesn't realize that the coaching industry is full of wannabes and fakes and charlatans, whatever you want to call them, then come on. I mean, I was going through my Instagram feed shortly after that, and I saw a kid. And when I say kid, it couldn't have been. There's no way he's like more than 16 or 17. Baby face, zits. I mean, I'm pretty good at guessing age because I've had kids. I've raised kids of my own, and I've been around plenty, they're friends growing up. So I know what people look like at different stages of development. I can tell, okay, that kid, he's 15 or 16. That one's like 18, 19. I can guess. This kid couldn't have been more than 16, 17 at the very most. Baby face, zits all over the face, the broccoli hair, and he's a coach. And his claim to fame is that he transformed himself in 3 months. And I saw it, and I'm like, he lost some fat, and he gained a little bit of muscle. It was nothing earth-shattering. I wasn't like, oh my God. And I don't think he was on any gear or anything, but that's how he markets himself. And I'm guessing he does pretty well because he's got very little experience. He's very, very new to training and nutrition, but he sounds like a smart kid. I'm sorry I don't remember his name or his Instagram or anything, but I'm just using him as an example anyway. He speaks well. He drops all the right words. He's probably got some sort of certification that you can get. You can get those online. It's not that hard to get. But he's very good at marketing. He's very good at Instagram and TikTok, and I'm guessing he probably has a YouTube channel as well. So that's important. Marketing is important. I mean, that's where I probably have failed the most as a coach, and I do coach people. Is that I'm not very good at marketing. Why? I haven't put that much effort into it. It's on me. I'm not blaming anybody else for it. So I don't know how to edit these great catchy Instagram reels with the captions jumping out and popping, and the workout stuff. I'm so old school. It would be to my benefit, I'm sure, but no, I do a little bit of coaching. It's not my main gig. I mean, starting something very, very soon with Euro Muscle. Euro Muscle, gentleman named Matthew Purcell has been promoting. This will be his second year, actually. It's still a brand new promotion. He does the Euro Muscle Show Expo in Amsterdam every July. Gets all kinds of celebrities there from our world. They had a show last year, a pro show, but this year they have Men's Open as a category, which is huge because there's not that many Men's Open shows. But already they're having people like, I know Samson Dowda is going to be there, at a booth and meeting fans. Wesley Vissers, of course, he lives there. William Bonac is his partner in the promotion, so of course William's going to be there. It'll be pretty much somewhat smaller scale than FIBO, which is the huge one that they do in Germany I think it's April or May. But it's still, for a first-year promotion, I saw the videos. He did a hell of a job. Him and William and their team did a great job putting this on. Anyway, I bring it up because they want to start an online fitness magazine, which will be similar to what MD was. It's going to be the same things. We're going to be covering bodybuilding. We'll also be doing other things like strongman, because at this expo, the Euro Muscle Show, they will have many different events. Powerlifting, strongman. I think they have I think they finally got their permit to have an MMA sanctioned match there. So we'll be covering a little more diversity of athletes than what I did with MD, but we'll still be focusing mainly on the IFBB Pro League categories, mainly, open bodybuilding, classic physique, 212 bodybuilding, women's physique, women's bodybuilding. I'm not sure if they have women's bodybuilding. I have to check that out. But yeah, Calian, I mean, this is prime time for coaches to get clients. It's January. It's an arbitrary time of the year where most people decide, well, I messed up last year. I didn't really get in shape like I was going to, but this is going to be my year. It's a brand new year. It's going to be a brand new me. So people wisely, they're looking for guidance. They're looking for coaches, because if you just go online and look for your own information, which there's plenty of it, but the problem is now there's so much information out there. It's confusing. A lot of it's conflicting with the other information. So, I totally understand why people would seek out coaches. And there are a lot of good coaches out there. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good coaches out there who are educated, experienced, and they're perfectly suited to guiding people to meet all their goals, whether it's building size, strength. I have a guy that I'm going to start working with very, very soon. He's 60 years old. His only real goal, he's got the workout part of it handled. He does CrossFit and he does regular weight training, but he just wants to get shredded one time. Not interested in competing. He just wants to, by this summer, he wants to get absolutely shredded. And I said, of course, I can do that. I mean, I've done it with many, many people. It's just a matter of adjusting the diet to get rid of the fat, burning calories in, calories out, meal timing, different things. It's not rocket science, but it's because there's so much conflicting information out there and there's such an abundance of information. It can be very confusing when someone tries to do that on their own versus having someone that can just guide you through it and say, here's what I want you to eat at these times a day. And, I like to work with people, see what their schedule is like. Because, if you just tell someone, I want you to eat this at these times, in a lot of cases, it's just not possible due to work constraints or family responsibilities. Maybe they're still in school or graduate school or something like that. So I work with them around their schedules and also food allergies and what kind of foods they like. Because if somebody hates fish and I give them a diet that's got, 4 fish meals a day in it, they're not going to follow it. And, there are so many different ways to get in shape. You don't have to eat exactly chicken breast and broccoli. There's a lot of different food choices that you have as for anybody that's trying to just take their calories down and lose body fat. So, but yeah, it's what's this? Your next question. Is it true that Derek Lunsford is currently working? It's probably true, but so far there's been nothing confirmed. Neither one of them has come out and confirmed it. Chris isn't the type of guy to toot his own horn. He's very humble. He's not a publicity hound. If anything, we're going to find out from Derek when Derek's comfortable with coming out and saying. Just like Nick Walker, we had to wait until he was ready to come out and say it was Kyle Wilkes is his coach. I know it's Kyle. It's Kyle Wilkes, I believe, is his coach. But we had to wait until he was ready because most coaches, especially when they're working with a big name client, they respect their privacy. They respect their timeline as far as when they want to release information and make it public. And when Derek is comfortable to tell everyone, he's got his own YouTube channel. He's smart. All these guys now, in the old days, any media outlet, we would try to get the scoop and we would try to be the first with the info out. But now these guys all have their own Instagrams, of course, their own YouTube channels, TikTok and all that. So they understand it's to their benefit, especially financially, to be the first to release information like that. So if you're a Derek fan, keep an eye on his social media and his YouTube channel. I'm sure he'll let everyone know. Ryan, good question. This is a great question, Ryan, because my son actually started prep today for his show, May 3rd. He's doing an OCB show, a natural organization out here. What is his show called? It's not called that. Spirit of America. He's doing the Spirit of America. Yeah, it's a big natural show they do here every spring. Anyway, yeah. So, I'm obviously concerned for him to maintain his testosterone production because when we had it tested, his testosterone was only a 500, which that is within normal range, but that's not where I would like to see it. I like to see testosterone levels, especially for a guy in your 20s, your mid 20s. I feel like it should be higher, much higher than that. Of course, we've had a lot of environmental factors with plastics leaking into everything we eat and drink. Soy. There's a lot of reasons why testosterone levels have plummeted in males in the last 50 years. Like they say, I think testosterone levels for a 21-year-old man 50 years ago were twice what they were now. I think I've even read that testosterone levels for a 50 or 60-year-old man back in the 60s were probably higher than the average 18 to 20-year-old now today, which is awful. So yeah, but to get to your question, Ryan, it's important to keep healthy fats in. Yeah, you want cholesterol. Cholesterol is not your enemy. I would have a couple whole eggs every day. Breakfast is typically when we eat our eggs, at least in the U.S. It's pretty similar most of the world, I think. But I would have 2 whole eggs every day and, half a cup or more of egg whites along with your carb source, whether it's grits, oats, pancakes. If you're dieting, you're probably not. If you're dieting down, you're probably not eating pancakes. You're probably eating oats, cream of rice, oatmeal, or grits. They're all about the same type of carb source as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, keep the healthy fats in. I would do eggs every morning, whole eggs, 2 whole eggs. I would have red meat, if not every day, 3 to 5 times a week. A lean cut of steak or some lean ground beef that you've drained the fat out of. Cholesterol is very important. Healthy fats. Salmon's great. My way of dieting, whether I was natural or not natural, I tended to have my carbs around my workouts, and I trained in the morning. So I would usually have breakfast, carbs with my first meal of the day, breakfast. I would wait a while, then go train. And then the meal after that would have carbs, usually be chicken or rice meal. And then my later meals of the day would be like red meat with vegetables or salmon with vegetables. I love salmon. My final meal of the day, whether I was dieting or not, would often be no carbs, but it would be healthy fats. Salmon and vegetables or red meat and vegetables was really great. Chance for 2025, you go to TRT and Greek talk. We're talking about T thing. So I'm on TRT. You're asking if it's any chance I will drop the T to 100, 125 a week. I don't see any reason to go that low for me. TRT is an individual thing. There's no universal dosage. Obviously we don't go over, typically you don't see many people going over 200 to 250 a week. The way I work it out, I'm on about 240 to 250 a week, typically. I don't see any need to go lower unless I have health issues. If I see that my hematocrit's getting too high, my red blood count, or, problems with my heart, which, knock on wood, I go to my cardiologist. I just had the full workup. I had an MRI of the heart with the dye injection a couple months ago, about 6 weeks ago. I do an ultrasound every August with my cardiologist. I do blood work, so I don't see any need for me to go lower. It's just people get mad if you're on TRT and you're on any higher dose than whatever they're taking. They get mad, a lot of these guys, and they say that's not true TRT. True TRT is only 100. Well, I mean, it depends on your levels of what you're testing out at. I've been testing out at about 1,000 to 1,200, which that's very high for TRT to have a total T. I'm actually getting blood work done again soon to see where I'm at, but it's all based on my blood work in my health markers. As long as I feel my best at around 1,000 to 1,200 total T. The free T is actually more important. I can't recall what mine was last time, but when I get my blood work done, I will share the results. I'll share the screens and everything. I'm getting it done very soon, so we'll see. Last cut kept the fats no lower than 100 grams. Lower carb days, it would be even higher. 250 off season. Yeah, that's true. So what I would do, I kept my calories pretty consistent from day to day, but I would have more carbs on my training days. When I was cutting, and this is dieting, whether it was on drugs or when I was natural, I always felt like I didn't need that much in the amount of carbs, a lot in the amount of weight in the carbs on days I didn't weight train. So on those days, I would have mostly fats, fattier protein sources like red meat and fish like salmon. I know there's others like mackerel, but I always just stick to salmon for the fattier stuff. And nuts, I would have like mixed, raw nuts. So my calories were consistent day to day, whether it was like 2,000, 2,500, whatever it is. But I would have more calories in the form of carbs on weight training days, and on non-weight training days, more in the form of fats, which obviously they're much more calorically dense. It's 4 calories for a gram of protein, as well as a gram of carbs, and 9 calories for a gram of fat. So fats have more than twice the amount of calories per gram. So you can't have as much, but in carbs, I did pretty well with carbs. I never went lower than like 200 grams of carbs a day when I was dieting. I never needed to. I was doing a good amount of cardio. I was burning anywhere from 500 to 800 calories a day doing cardio. I respond well to carbs. I don't get too fat on them. I'm not that carb sensitive. We'll see if I ever diet down again. Yeah. Alon Powers. Yeah, Groove Baby. She was not conceived after Night at Sound Factory, Alon. So yeah. My daughter's a DJ, and she got into that music, the EDM, from my wife and I used to be club. We weren't kids. We didn't start clubbing until we were in our almost 30. And we did it for probably the first half of our 30s, and then we were done. We had like a good 5 to 7 year run of going to clubs, and then we could already see everyone around us was older. I didn't want to be the old guy at the club, but yeah, we didn't start clubbing until I think I was 29, the very first time I went to club. My whole 20s, I was so obsessed with being the best bodybuilder I could be that I didn't drink alcohol. I certainly would never go out to a club and stay out till like 2 or 3 in the morning, missing meals. But, later, as I hit like 30, I think it was right around the time I hit 30. I'd say like 30 to 36 for my clubbing years. And we had Marisa when, let's see, so she was born in April 94. I was 24. Janet was 23. So she would have been conceived in, I guess, the fall or late summer of 1993. So we were still in our early 20s at that point. 22, 23. Yeah, Janet was 22 when she got pregnant with her, I think. Yeah, because she was 23 when she had her in April. Anyway, yeah, we weren't going clubbing back in those days. No. Christian was conceived at the very beginning of our clubbing years, but I don't think it certainly wasn't the Sound Factory, but the club he's talking about, guys, was this legendary nightclub in New York called Sound Factory. What's it called now? It's still around, but it's called something else. I know it's not the same club. It looks the same though. It's like 3 floors with this massive lit up column in the middle. Pacha, I think it's Pacha. Is it still Pacha? It might not even be Pacha anymore. It might be something else. Yeah. Keeping fats in, no impact on me getting peeled. I keep my food relatively high, just did more cardio. Yeah, I felt better. So it's all calories in, calories out. So when you're in prep, you have two choices. You can either choose to eat less food so you don't have to do as much cardio, or you do more cardio and you can eat more food. Most of us don't want to be hungry. We don't like feeling hungry and having hunger pangs. So we just opt to eat more food and do more cardio. I mean, that's what I always did. I liked eating. I never liked the feeling of being hungry and starving and feeling like I was flat all the time. That's why I would keep the carbs in. Even on the days I didn't weight train, I still had carbs at breakfast. I would still have my oatmeal in the morning. And then, the rest of the meals would be just like a protein source. So I'd usually have like chicken thighs, lean red meat, salmon, ground turkey, stuff like that. Strongest feet was in the gym, super around sports and ace journals compared to bodybuilders for decades. Well, I didn't really follow any powerlifters. I didn't hang around powerlifters. I can tell you what I saw bodybuilders do. I remember this guy, a German bodybuilder named Marcus, that trained at our gym. I think he was murdered. I think he was like a pro wrestler. He had a mohawk. He was a big, like 270, 280 pound guy. I used to see him bench press 5 plates for 8 to 10 reps every week on chest day. He would do that. And there were a few guys I saw do that. I've seen guys squat like 6, 7 plates for a few good reps. I've seen guys deadlift that many times. I never got to see Ronnie train at his strongest. The one time when I was out there, he was just getting back into training in February of 2005 after taking off 3 months after the 2004 Olympia. So I didn't get to see him do any of the stuff you see in the videos, but we see it in the videos. I've seen guys press like 180-pound dumbbells. I'd say the strongest guy I ever saw, it was questionable form, but early 90s, I saw Jimmy the Iron Bull Paletia at probably his strongest do some crazy stuff a couple times. I saw him do skull crushers with 405 on the bar, and he had me spotting. I was terrified. I was like, if this guy gets stuck, he's dead. I'm not going to be able to help him that much. I think I saw him do a 405 military press behind the neck. No, well, I'm not military. I think he was going behind. I can't remember if it was in front or behind, but it was 405. I've seen people curl with shit form, like 120 pound dumbbells, lateral raises with that. I've seen some impressive stuff, but like I said, I've never really been part of the powerlifting scene, and they're training for pure strength, so they're obviously going to be a lot stronger than bodybuilders who aren't really trained to be strong the way that powerlifters are. King Kamali. Yeah, I saw King at the I went to one. I went to the Sound Factory probably 4 or 5 times. He was there, I think, 3 out of those times. One time I was there, it was a party that Craig Titus and Kelly Ryan were throwing, an after party after the New York Pro. And King was there, and it was weird because I thought they hated each other, but they were perfectly friendly on that particular night. They were laughing and hugging, and nobody was beating anyone up. So, but Sound Factory was like the legendary club that's where like all the bodybuilders would go to party, and they'd all have their shirts off, jacked. You'd go there after like the New York Pro or something, and there were guys who were in the show that had been competing. They'd have their shirts off. They're rolling on, ecstasy, GHB, all that good stuff, ketamine. But it was like a love fest. Nobody was wanting to kill anybody or beat anyone up. Everyone was like saying, bro. Everyone was feeling the love. Nobody wanted to hurt each other. Whereas when people are drunk at clubs, that's when they get really angry and want to fight and all that stupid shit. Pacha closed years ago. Yeah, that's right. I figured. Yeah, nightclub business, there's none of them stay around forever. I think they all have a shelf life. Parucho, my J's therapies, 2 IU a day. I've been getting swelling hands. Wow, last year 3 IU a day got me swollen feet for a week. Have you seen or heard of it? Guys, these are 2. I mean, I don't know too many people. You must be very, very sensitive because most people do, for longevity and health purposes, that's what they use, is like 2 IUs, 3 IUs a day, 4 at the high end. I was using it for about 3 years solid. And when my money situation proves, I'll get back on it again. But I was doing 2.5, 3 IUs a day for about 3, 4 years, and I never had those issues. But like I said, some people don't get side effects from steroids, and other people get horrible side effects. We're all different. We all have different sensitivities to different drugs. So it sounds like you just have bad luck. Ecstasy will make you friends with your worst enemy. Yeah, it's true. When you're rolling on ecstasy, I haven't done it in a very long time, but I did plenty of it for a few years there. It's just this feeling of well-being and love and connection with the universe, and you don't hate anybody. It's like you can't feel hate. It's like whatever part of the brain that hates or feels bad intentions, it must like shut down. You really just feel love and happiness, and you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't hate anybody. It's you'll even run into people that you don't like them. You've had your issues with them, but you feel just like forgiveness. It's I know it's all chemically induced. It's artificial, but it was good times. Trend test, you heard of Wednesday programs. I mean, who knows? You hear rumors. I hear things, but I don't know if they're true because it's like sensationalism. People love to hear high amounts. Like there's a couple podcasts where I see their highest views are when they have guests on who just talk about using crazy amounts. And that's how they promote it in the thumbnail and the description. 20, this Chase guy, I know he was very, very much checking up with his health the whole time, but he was doing grams and grams of tests, 20 IUs of growth hormone a day. And people hear that and they're like, they salivate. They're like, wow, oh, that's great. I want to do that too. You're not going to get anyone to watch your podcast or to talk about it if someone says, oh, I did 600 milligrams of test a week and 300 milligrams of tren and 400 milligrams of deca. People are like, nah. Either they'll say you're lying or they'll say you're a pussy because is that all you were going to run? Yeah. Thank you. Best wishes. Yeah. Hope we all have a great year, man. We got a brand new president. Well, we've had him as a president before, so it's not like he's a new president, but I'm hoping for some things to change with the economy, especially. I have high hopes for that. We all do in the U.S. Still, a lot of people very upset about how the election turned out. I have an older sister who's very, very upset about Trump being elected. She's unfriended a lot of people over it on Facebook, blocked a lot of people who voted for him. Strongest ecstasy. The problem is you don't know, and I don't know brand names or anything like that. I mean, it was always like, I don't know what the hell I was getting or if it had other drugs in it or laced with. I had no idea, but I mean, there were times when I took too much where, I was like immobilized and, couldn't even move. I've had experiences where I've overdosed, never had to go to the hospital, but I was pretty close. I'm sure a few times where, my heart was probably racing and my body temperature was probably getting dangerously high. But yeah, because the problem with it the problem that I had when I used is I would take a pill or 2 pills. I'd wait like 20, 30 minutes. And if I didn't feel anything, I would take another one. And then the first 2 would kick in. And then like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, the third one would kick in. And by then it's too late. Then you're on drugs. You're rolling. You're high on ecstasy for like 6 to 8 hours. It would take a long time for me to come down from that. The come down from it was the worst. I mean, I used to feel just awful because it kills your serotonin receptors. So you have this blast of serotonin while you're on it, and then like total depletion of your serotonin. You feel like dog shit, just miserable. I remember days when I'd spend like the whole next day under a blanket shivering with a fan on, trying to sleep, and I couldn't sleep, and I just felt nauseous and exhausted and depressed. It was awful. Mitsubishi? What? Mitsubishi? The car brand makes ecstasy? I never knew brand names. I mean, I remember once in a while they would have like a picture of like a dolphin or a plus sign. They would have some kind of sign on them, but I never knew any particular brands or anything like that. I just took whatever I could get or whatever, buying clothes. My dumbest experience, stupidest, one time I was in Vegas partying and I was buying it. I had a couple and I wanted to buy more. So I found someone that was selling it in the club and I had a bunch of cash on me and I bought like, I don't know, I think I bought like 8 or 10 tabs and I put them, they didn't have like a baggie or anything. So I just put it in my back pocket of my jeans and I was sweating up a storm dancing. And later that night, I went to get another one, and it was just mush. They had all turned to mush. So they were all gone. They were all wasted, melted into sweat and disgusting ecstasy slime. I don't know. Good times. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you all go. I want you to have an awesome weekend. It's good to be back home in Boston. Miami was nice and warm. Beautiful people, beautiful scenery. Got to go to the beach twice. So the weather, the beach, the water was nice. Everything's cool. Beautiful city to visit, and I'm happy my daughter enjoys it there, but I would never want to live there. I like the change of seasons. I don't mind the cold, and I like my house. I like being home. So that's it, guys. Have an awesome weekend. It's Friday, right? First weekend of the year, and that's it. I will talk to you all very soon. Peace out.